Good morning. Welcome to San Francisco City Hall. My name is Naomi Kelly, and I'm the City Administrator for the City and County of San Francisco. And I am so excited to be here today to kick off Census 2020. In San Francisco, our diversity is one of a kind, and today we come together from every community across San Francisco with one core message: we count and we will be counted. From community members to nonprofits to our elected officials, such as Assessor Recorder Carment Chu, Treasurer Tax Collector Jose Cisneros, President of our Board of Supervisors Norman Yee, Supervisor Stephanie, Supervisor Fuhrer. We are so excited to get this done together. Every 10 years, the federal government puts together a census to count everyone and to make critical decisions about our future. Yet the hard work happens in our local communities right here on the ground. This time we know that it'll be harder because the census is digital, and so we must bridge that digital divide. Some people distrust government, so we must work with nonprofit and community-based organizations such as A. Philip Randolph Institute and Self-Help for the Elderly to educate them and inform the community on why it matters that we get counted. Let's face it, San Franciscans are hard to count because many of us live in apartments and we live in SROs. And folks are just plain busy and may not get around to getting counted. So we have to remind them why it matters to be counted in this census. Mayor Breed, Speaker Pelosi are here today because they know just how important this work is and how much it matters. Thank you, and thank you for being here today, and thank you for the work that you will do to make sure everyone is counted. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Celine Kennelly to kick us off with the Star-Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, their bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, London Breed. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Celine, for that beautiful, beautiful song honoring our country, honoring the amazing citizens of San Francisco. I am really excited to be here today to kick off SF Counts, especially because we have our fearless leader, Speaker Nancy Pelosi, in the House. Let me tell you, this woman, I mean, just to watch what she does in Washington, D.C., defending our city, doing everything she can to support us, but also to move this country forward. It is absolutely incredible. And no matter what she's doing in Washington, D.C., she always finds time to show up for us, whether it's resources, whether it's her time. Her staff has been absolutely incredible, and we are so grateful to have her here today. And we also need to talk about the importance of making sure that our communities are counted. And no one knows how important that this is more than Speaker Pelosi, especially because we want to make sure that we have representation in Congress. We want to make sure that when she's fighting for resources, for housing, for homelessness, all the things that she's continuing to do, that San Francisco gets its fair share. And it takes a lot of work. It's not easy, clearly. It's not easy with what she is fighting against now in Washington, D.C. And I think that's why people here in San Francisco, they understand the importance of the census, but don't always trust government. I will tell you, it was a challenge oftentimes to get my grandmother to fill out the forms. She was concerned that people would be all in our business. I'm sure many of you probably hear that from some of your family members. I don't want government all in my business. And the fact is, we have to do a better job of reaching out to our communities, of really helping to educate people about what the census is actually meant to do under the law. The goal is to draw congressional lines and to look at the number of people within those congressional lines. The goal is to make sure that every person is counted, and this statistical information is used for allocating resources and doing great things for our city and our communities. And I know there's a lot of fear out there, especially with our immigrant communities. But that battle was won to make sure that people still feel safe and comfortable with providing information on the census and knowing that they will not be targeted. And so we have put together a comprehensive plan with a number of trusted community-based organizations to reach out to communities, whether it's in Spanish or Cantonese or Mandarin, to make sure that we are communicating, to make sure that we are working with people and trying to, as Naomi Kelly, our city administrator, said, address the divide with the challenges around technology and the fact that this is the first time the census will be submitted online. There's a lot of work that we need to do, but we have been getting ready for this for some time. And I am really confident in a number of the organizations here who regularly work with members of the community to outreach and to do what's necessary to get the job done. And so I'm going to be counting on the people who are here, who may not be affiliated with organizations, to encourage your family members, to encourage your neighbors to do outreach, because we want to make sure that every single person in the city and county of San Francisco is counted. How we generate revenues in order to help address many of the challenges, especially around housing and homelessness, has everything to do with making sure that we get our fair share from Washington, D.C. And we need to make sure that our speaker has the ammunition she needs to do just that, and that includes making sure that every single person is counted. So we got our work cut out for us, folks. She's doing her part for us in Washington, D.C., so let's do our part for her and all the people we care about in this city by getting the word out now. So without further ado, I want to bring to the podium our amazing and fearless leader, Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Aren't we proud of our mayor, London Breed? Congratulations, Madam Mayor, on your inauguration. Thank you for being the fierce fighter that you are for San Francisco. Our mayor came into office, and not only even just being mayor, but into office with an idea, with a vision for our city. From her own experience, she knew what the challenges were and are. Our mayor came in with knowledge of how to get things done and a plan to do so. And she has, again, because speaking from her own experience, connected so well with all the people of our city, recognizing the beautiful diversity of San Francisco. I always say the beauty is in the mix. And Mayor, you're an absolute reflection of that beauty of leadership, brilliance, respect. Thank you, Madam Mayor. London Breed. It's wonderful to be here with so many members of the official family of San Francisco and of our state, and also just everyone is part of the family when we talk about the census. We want everyone to be counted. And the mayor mentioned how important it was. Adrienne, thank you for your leadership in this initiative. And to Naomi, thank you for yours as well. Carment Chu, Anni Chung. Annie and I have been working together for like 40 years. She still looks the same, but I don't know how. She still has all that energy. And Mario Paz, thank you for your leadership. Good Samaritan, the Family Resource Center, perfect name for all of this. Because one of the fears that people have about the census is well-founded because this administration wanted to have a citizenship question on the census. In total violation, in defiance of what our founders had intended in the Constitution of the United States, that everyone would be counted. So, Madam Mayor, when you talk about your grandma saying when government's in your business, well, from the standpoint of immigration, that is a real and legitimate fear. And that's why we fought so hard, working with some of the groups and with our own standing as Congress in the Supreme Court to win that case in the Supreme Court, and we even late. And even after the case, we later learned the intention, the political intention that was there to have a citizenship question so that it would have an impact on politics. Yes, it does have an impact on how many Congress people from a certain state come to Washington, D.C. But as the mayor indicated, and Naomi alluded to, this is about meeting the needs of the American people. Meeting the needs of the American people in all the ways, transportation, housing, food, whatever it is. Why the numbers are an imperative for how the resources will flow. Shameful that people would say we don't want to know our numbers. But San Francisco can be a model not only for ourselves, but also to the Bay Area, and let's say we want every person in the Bay Area counted and every person in California counted, because that is really one of the targets of the administration. Now I know firsthand, in the 90s, and you remember this when there was an assault on our immigration system, and when I would go to the schools to see little children, which was what I normally would do, the children, if they thought an official was coming, would run and hide. We were trying to get more food in the schools and school lunch program and all of that, and we were trying to document the need. But these children would run and hide if they thought an official was coming because they were not fully documented. But that's not the point. The point is if you're here, you should be counted. And don't think that because if you may not be documented that you're any less important in this count. Believe in you. Believe in you. You're being counted not only is good for you, but strengthens the entire community. And what the mayor said is very, very important. People may fear technology or the government and this or that, but the community groups who have standing, not only standing officially, but standing with people, culturally, linguistically, geographically, appropriate and familiar, have a big role to play in making sure that everyone knows how important he or she is, so that everyone is counted. This is the lifeblood of America, who we are as a people. Some people may have a fear of how that is changing. We think that is the beauty of our future. And again, any obstacles must be removed. That's why we were very proud in the fight. We had to fight to get over $7.5 billion more for the census, so that the resources that were necessary were there. So this is the enabler of it all. This is the liberator. This just cuts everything free to say, I'm as important as anyone else, and I will be counted. And this San Francisco Committee for a Total Count can be, as I say, a model to others. But isn't that just like San Francisco, to be a model to others in terms of the respect that we have for the dignity and worth of every person? And aren't we proud of our leader, Mayor Breed, for making this a priority? Thank you, Madam Mayor, for making this such a priority, because everything depends on that count. Again, people just have to know how important they are, each and every one of them. So thank each and every one of you for what you are doing in this regard. Don't give them a victory. They want to scare people into not being counted. Don't give them a victory. Give yourself a victory by being counted. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for standing for me. Welcome, everybody, and good morning. My name is Carment Chu. I serve as San Francisco's assessor. And I think many of you associate the work that I do to make sure that we bring in the resources San Francisco needs to do all of the work that we are trying to accomplish here. But today, instead of talking about money, which the census does have a connection to money, and believe me, for every single person who doesn't get counted, San Francisco loses out. But I come here to talk to you as a daughter of immigrants and the importance of coming out for the census. You know, Nancy Pelosi spoke earlier very eloquently about the assault on our immigration system and about how it is that our immigrant communities are feeling under attack. And I will tell you that there is no more important thing to do than to make sure that we say, we're going to be counted and we don't care what you're doing. We're not going to let fear drive us. When we think about all of the communities who have come before us, my parents included, many of the people who have come before you, your families, your mom and dad, your aunt, your uncle, your grandfather, so many of them took the brave step to come to the United States. They came here perhaps under duress. They came here perhaps because they were fearful of what they had to face in their own countries. But they came here because they believed in a better future. They came here because they believed that when they set their foot down here, that they would be counted, that their dreams mattered, that they mattered. And that's what this census is about. It's about making sure that all of our families, every single one, whether you're documented or not, whether you're big, you're small, you're rich, you're poor, that you get counted. And when we think about all of us in this room and what we're doing here, you all woke up early this morning to come here. And I know perhaps you came to see the mayor. She's amazing. Perhaps you came to see our speaker. She's also amazing. But the reason you came here was because you knew that each one of you has a responsibility and a role in making sure that we have a complete count here. And so as much as we have all of our wonderful nonprofits who are going to do as much as they possibly can to get out the word, as much as we know that they're going to go out there and have ads and talk to our community members, truthfully, the way that we get counted is when each one of us takes initiative, when we each go back to our homes and make sure that we count our families, when each and every one of us go back to our communities and help our grandparents, our parents, our aunties and uncles who can't use the computer, and we help them get counted. So call this a call to action. Make sure you get counted. Let's make sure that we raise our voice when we are faced with the decision to hide as immigrants or to stand up and say that we should be counted, let's stand up and be counted in San Francisco. And now I'd like to introduce Anni Chung, someone who has been a fierce leader for not only our immigrant communities, but also many of our seniors in San Francisco. Anni Chung.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm joined today by my colleague and my co-chair of the San Francisco Complete Count Committee, Ms. Adrienne Shorter. And can all the members of our SFCCC stand up, please, along with all of our census grantees today? So, thank you. So we are the people of San Francisco. The 2020 census is our opportunity for our diverse communities to participate and fight for our fair share, fight for the resources and the political representation. For too long, and especially in the past few years, communities of color, the poor, seniors, youth, people with disabilities, and other underserved groups have been left out of housing, economic opportunities, resources, and the political process. My group, Self-Help for the Elderly and our seniors, serve seniors across 4 Bay Area counties. We have a huge and growing senior population, and we have our seniors are at least 150% below the federal poverty line, many of our seniors. Our seniors rely on federal dollars to support our housing, our health care, our meals programs, and our social services. They have contributed economically to the city and county of San Francisco and have the right to participate. Each person who participates in the upcoming census will bring enough federal funding to support 222 meals a day for our seniors. So let's be counted. In 2010, San Francisco was the only county in California to reach its self-response goals for the census. That's because every community partnered with the City Office of Civic Engagement and Immigrant Affairs, with the city, and with all the other partners to bring the census to our neighborhoods and our communities. Thanks to the community partners here today and leadership of our city, we got the job done. This time around will be harder. Mayor said it, Speaker Pelosi said it, but we can do it again. That's why we are so grateful that Speaker Pelosi and Mayor Breed are here today, along with all of our city and state leaders, and take time out to make the 2020 census a priority and to encourage and inspire us today. We have to get this job done for the people of San Francisco and for our communities. Every San Franciscan has a responsibility to stand up and be counted by participating in the census. Our seniors, our youth, our families all count on us. We're depending on each other. Thank you. And I'm to introduce Mario Paz, my good friend. Mario is the Vice Chair of the Immigrant Rights Commission.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And I'd first like, again, to thank our fearless leaders, Mayor London Breed, and who is a fearless leader for our city, and our fearless leader for our country, Nancy Pelosi. Speaker, thank you. California is home to over a quarter of the nation's immigrants, and over a third of San Francisco's population is immigrants. Nearly half of our city speaks a language other than English at home. We know that the 2020 census is going to be hard for immigrants, communities of color, people experiencing homelessness, and many of our residents who lack access to technology and services. But in San Francisco, our communities have always shown courage and resiliency. And as a city, I know we're going to come together, and we're going to make sure that everyone gets counted. An undercount will have consequences for the next decade. Although the citizenship question is off the questionnaire, the anti-immigrant rhetoric continues, and all of this will have a chilling effect on participation, especially for undocumented and other immigrant groups. Researchers predict that the 2020 census could lead to the worst undercount of Black and Latino people in the US since 1990. We cannot let this happen. And let me say this again, we cannot let this happen. We are going to roll up our sleeves. We're going to work hard each and every day because at this time, right now, there are thousands of children sitting in our classrooms with hopes, dreams for a better future. And we cannot let them down. So I ask each and every person here to begin to roll up your sleeves, talk to your friends, neighbors, colleagues, strangers. We are all going to work together because San Francisco is going to be the leader in this country to make sure that no one is left behind in this country. Thank you. And I would like to now please welcome Adrienne Pon, the Executive Director of the Office of Civic Engagement and Immigrant Affairs, and the leader who's leading these census efforts in San Francisco. Thank you, Adrienne, for all your leadership. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Wow, there's a whole lot of awesome power in this room, isn't there? Thank you all for your leadership and your inspiration. We live in extraordinary times that require a sense of purpose and fearlessness, and thankfully, we have incredible people power, political will, and the ability to make positive change. We also have the most awesome and fierce mayor and Speaker of the House. You've heard many reasons why the 2020 census is so important to our city, to our region, and our state. There are nearly 900,000 people in San Francisco that need to be counted by the U.S. Census Bureau. Each person who participates in the census translates to $2,000 in federal funding each year, and that's more than $17.6 billion coming to our neighborhoods and our communities over the next decade. We need that money for schools, libraries, roads, nutrition, and most of all, affordable housing. Okay, we have a lot of work ahead of us, as you've heard, to overcome all these barriers, to make it possible for every person to participate, to motivate our residents, to fill out that online census form as soon as it goes live in mid-March. Since last fall, all of our community grantees and network of partners, faith-based, labor, arts, education, and city partners have been getting the word out that the census is coming. And thanks to our creative partner, Art in Action, and their coalition of local artists who have started taking over the streets, the San Francisco campaign, SF Counts, is going to be infused with creativity and art that reflects all of our diverse people. Every library, beacon center, every social service site, and city interface will have information and in-language referral to help our residents participate. And this is not just about San Francisco, as you heard our speakers say. It is a partnership with the whole Bay Area, the state of California, and the entire country. A quick shout out to the California State Select Committee on the Census, the California Complete Count, San Mateo County of Community Affairs, and our State Assembly and Senate offices, and the U.S. Census Bureau, who are all present in the House. For many San Franciscans, the 2020 census will be the very first step to civic engagement and exercising their right to participate. So who matters in this census? Everyone matters. We look forward to working with all of you. It won't be easy, but we will get the job done together. I want to thank you very much. This concludes today's press event. Please enjoy the reception and the census fair. Thank you very much, everyone.